Hey, AfterBuzzers, we are talking about The Bold Type, Episode 6, The Breast Issue, so stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Well, I've got two lovers.
And I like them the same.
You know, and I have to say, you guys are right. I didn't see it coming, but Alex was definitely feeling sun. So excited to get into this episode. Before we do, you guys, I'm your host, Ally Nasta. You can find me on Instagram at AllyGirl and on Twitter at Ally Nasta. And Karla, where can they find you?
Hi guys, I'm your host, Karla Beltran, and you can find me on Instagram at Karla B Travels and on Twitter at Karla Beltran with an R at the end.
And Devyn, where can they find you?
Hey guys, it's Devyn Howard. You can find me on all social media at Dining with Devyn, and that's Devyn. Kind of weird, but
No, I love that spelling.
I like that.
I love it. Kia, where can they find you?
Hi guys, I am Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom, and I'm in the live chat. Hello to David. He said,
yay.
hello everyone.
Hi, David. Yay. And thank you guys so much for joining us yet again for another amazing episode. And also, make sure to follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on all social media platforms. And don't forget to download those iTunes podcasts.
Yes.
But I want to start off with Alex, just because that was
Yes.
like when I obviously, like, besides the big heavy issue that we had this episode, I didn't see it coming. You guys called it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
How were you guys feeling when you saw this encounter actually happen? It happened twice before he actually admitted to liking her.
I was excited. I jumped up because, as we all remember, I said in my prediction, I'm like, I think Alex is either going to make the move and Richard is somehow going to see it, because last episode he walked in a little bit on them, and Alex did not disappoint.
Yep.
And he went for what he wanted, and I got super excited because I feel like this is gonna be a great plot and a great twist, because it puts Sun in a weird situation. Even what was happening, because Alex was helping her, Richard was giving her great advice, but she didn't want to hear what Richard was saying. So I can't wait to see like this little love triangle.
Right. And
thing.
I think it's going to be super interesting because of the fact that I think she's intrigued by him only because I think the whole not being able to have Richard as a boyfriend this episode has been really hard on her. Especially because, you know, whenever they're in the office, they have to pretend like they don't really know each other. And she had actually when she had kind of cried to him about, you know, I'm going to need this pendant. I don't know what to do. She was looking for him for comfort, and he was only there as I'm the lawyer, and I'm sorry, but this is what I have to give you. I understand the tough love, but I think that's going to get old after a while. And as much as she cares about him, it might be intriguing that she could actually have this relationship with Alex in and out of the workplace.
But it's still a workplace relationship.
Yeah.
I think it would still be complicated. But I feel like that whole move that Alex made on Sutton was, I know we predicted it, I know we were kind of expecting it, but it kind of came out of left field for me. Like, I didn't feel like there had been enough development of their relationship for this to actually, like for it to be justified.
Right.
And he also went from kind of being like this gentle, sort of like supportive friend to in the cab suddenly being so like
Seductive.
forward. Yeah, forward. I was like,
Hey, sometimes you gotta go for what you want.
no, but it was just seemed like kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting. In the chat says, I'm feeling the whole Alex and Sutton vibe. And happy birthday to David.
Yes, happy birthday, David.
Well, I am always going to be Team Richard.
Of course.
I agree with
Sutter.
you.
Team Sutter.
I'm definitely Team Sutter, like die hard. But I can see how your prediction would go as like she could get tired of the fact of not being able to kind of have her relationship be open. But at the same time, like I agree with you at how it's still an in-work relationship, so there really isn't like a difference. And if I had to choose one, I would definitely choose Richard.
I would choose Richard too.
I would go with, you know what? I don't know if I would pick one, like piggybacking off of what Ally said. I think that because Richard is older and wiser, I think she's going to get a little tired of the whole, you should do even though what he's saying is absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think she may get a little tired of the, you should be doing this and you're not doing the right thing, kind of like, you're not my dad type of thing. And that's what happens when older guys date younger girls or vice versa. And even if it doesn't work out with Alex or whoever, I just think it's just fun. So I don't know if I would pick one, but I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah. I think... No, go ahead.
I have a feeling feeling that something like that's gonna happen. We're just gonna get tired of it, and they're gonna do like maybe like a mini break.
Yeah.
But then they're gonna see each other again, and they're gonna remember how much they love each other, and they're gonna go back together, and then they're gonna get married.
Olive
in, like,
Garden.
Season 3, and Olive Garden is going to cater it.
Yeah.
And
Olive Garden.
I love it.
Because of the bread stick.
Yeah.
I was like, that's random.
I'm like, why that? No, that's hilarious. But yeah, I did like how they, like, Richard and Sutton did have a kind of like a heart-to-heart this episode, which was really nice. She kind of got to throw in the digs, like, you know, I was actually supposed to go on a Tinder date before I met you for the
cute.
first time. So it was kind of nice to see that interaction and not just it be the whole, like, all right, it's kind of like a power play, like, all right, we have this relationship, and then we have work, and we have to try to figure out how we can meander around that and have a successful relationship. But I do believe that they're gonna proceed through Alex. But I did find it very interesting that he was so straightforward with what he wanted.
Yeah.
It's kind of sexy. It was kind of a turn on, like when he was in the cab and he's like, "It's too bad you're dating Richard because I kiss you right now."
Yeah.
I was like, "Whoa!"
Sutton,
No, it's okay.
and also Sutton really felt like intrigued towards
Yeah,
him.
she
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
like,
But she didn't say anything.
Yeah, no.
Because if she didn't like what she was hearing from him,
Yeah.
she probably would have been like,
Yes.
we shouldn't do this.
That's
She would
inappropriate.
have been
Yeah.
like, excuse me, like,
Well-
I'm dating somebody, so please, like, if this is not gonna be easy for you, then maybe we should hang
Right.
out. That's what
Exactly.
I would have said, not like, oh yeah. Or
Right.
she didn't even say
She was just
anything.
giving him
was like-
looks. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I guess
Like,
at the
she was
same
like,
time,
okay.
if someone says pull over and then throws that bomb on you, I'd be like, I don't know what to say to that either.
Yeah.
You know?
I do feel like her silence says a lot. I think that in this episode and also just like in this period in her life, Sutton is really kind of asserting her independence.
Right.
And she's really like kind of coming into her own, and Alex really supports that. Richard supports it to
Right.
an extent. And I think that silence was like super important there.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was.
think it was like, I don't know what to say. I think it was like, whoa, maybe.
we have some people in the chat. Some people are feeling it. Some people are like, you know, the love triangles, we've seen them before on TV. It's a little overused. And someone's like, Sutton is cute with either one of them.
Yeah, that is very true.
I agree.
And I think it is. I think this episode we kind of did see that there is going to be issues. You know, so
Yes.
far I think we've kind of had this upbeat, happy-go-lucky, nothing wrong has kind of happened. And today we had kind of a lot of wrong things happen, especially starting with the pendant that fell out of her pocket.
I knew
And
that was going to happen.
I knew something
Yeah.
bad. I thought
You
she was gonna
called
get.
it.
I thought she was gonna get robbed only because she kept saying how pricey
Yeah.
it was. If I were me, I would literally be holding it in my hands the whole way home. Like, this is not going anywhere.
knew it because
Yeah.
she was so distracted.
Yeah.
Guys, I have a secret. I'm one of the writers. I know
I was just
everything
about
that
to
happens.
ask you.
No.
I was like, are you a writer?
I'm one of the writers on the bow type.
That's
no, I
hilarious.
knew because she was getting distracted.
Right.
And she's talking on the phone. I'm like, this girl is going to leave that in that cab. And it's very, this is not Uber. Like, you know, you can call
Right.
your Uber or your Lyft back. I'm like, this is a New York City cab. It's going to be difficult to find that pendant.
Right.
I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. It was.
For son.
Yeah, I mean, everything was going a little too perfect. You can't just get a pendant like that to impress your boss and not something in a TV show like this go wrong. But yeah, I mean, I really appreciated how she did figure it out, follow through, and even though Richard said you should just come back to work, she said no, I'm gonna figure this out. So I really liked that she stuck through with what she was doing. But yeah, I mean, Sutton had some this was a Sutton episode. I enjoyed that. I kind of liked seeing more of just her character and kind of see that develop as the seasons progressed. But maybe now let's jump back. I just had to talk about the Alex
Of
things.
course,
I know
that
we
was-
were all like, when I saw it, I was like, they were right. They were right. But in the first part of the episode, they all were taking their shirts off in order to, support breast cancer. And I was like, would you guys do that in the middle of a park in New York City?
Free the nipple. Free the nipple.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
am such a J
if
with
my-
that. I don't think I would.
I would just be
I would.
nervous.
If
Like,
my
I have
boobs,
friends.
if my boobs actually didn't need a bra for support,
gosh.
I probably would take off my shirt and part.
But I was like, man,
But no.
more power to them because I think I'd be scared just because it's
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's a we have that connotation with us that we don't want. That's a no-go.
Yeah.
Which Kat
Excuse
had
me.
a lot of struggle in that episode with this campaign. And it was very interesting to see how much push she was giving Jacqueline.
Yes.
Which I think we're kind of seeing something in her character that there's certain things that she's a little selfish about. Like, she doesn't look outside of what is best for everyone else. I think she just
Or
sometimes...
for the magazine.
Yeah, or for the magazine. I think she just is kind of looking as to what could help her campaign in that second.
Yeah.
So what were you guys feeling about that push play kind of with Jacqueline and her against this whole Free the Nipple campaign?
Well, go ahead. Okay, I'll go and then you'll go. I feel like as a social media director, she's very like doesn't think about anything at all.
No.
Like she's just kind of like, I'm really like just passionate about this right now. I'm just gonna act on it.
Right.
And like she keeps doing that over and over again, and she keeps kind of like, I think she really is starting to reject authority, and even Jacqueline, who's quite supportive as
Right.
a boss, but it's just kind of funny to see her making these same like kind of mistakes over and over again. Rookie mistakes for a social media director. You shouldn't be doing that.
I like that Jacqueline called her out on it though, because you know, like you said, Jacqueline's been really supportive for the girls, and she kind of gives Kat room to breathe, and she lets her do her thing. But I like that she called her out. She's like, no, you're being selfish. This is not about you. This is not about you wanting to help these women going through something. This is about you wanting to win.
Yeah.
And that's what,
Right.
like, you're right. Like, as a social media director, I'm like, girl, your boss and legal, they're literally telling you cannot do it.
Right.
I get that you're a fighter, you're a feminist, and you want to do the right thing, but you don't want to get fired.
Yeah.
What were you
exactly.
gonna say?
I was pretty much gonna say the exact same thing that you guys said. I think like as social media goes, there are rules as to what you can and what you cannot post. And if your boss is telling you like, hey, this is not something I want posted, then you don't post it.
Right.
Instead of kind of just going against them and then be like, no, well, this is what I want to share. And it's not, they're not her followers. Like those 2.1 million people
Exactly.
are not following Kat. They're following Scarlett. And she has to remember that she does represent this company, and it's not like her representing herself. Like, she can do whatever she wants with her account. She can post as many pictures as she wants of what she's trying to fight, but not on a company account. Not when it's your work. When it's your work, I feel like you should keep it professional, even if you do have that like authority to be able to open and post anything that you want, but you should always just keep it to what the legal team and what your boss is telling you. Yeah.
That is interesting. In the chat says that Kat is going to push too far and get in trouble.
Yeah.
We hope she doesn't get fired. I
Yeah.
wrote she's going to get fired, LOL, but I hope not.
I could see her getting written up and maybe
Yes.
like taking a day kind of off. We'll get into Sutton having that same issue. But I think that there's definitely, I agreed with Jacqueline in this scene because it was kind of like, I understand how passionate you are, but maybe express that passion to Jacqueline, figure out another way to make this come across as something that is not going to get you kicked off social media, because that is something that it was a 2.1 million following. If you lose that, your account just can't be given back to you. You have to make an entire other account and start from scratch.
And it's like the original point she was trying to make just went out the window.
Right.
It was about helping women with breast cancer and, you know, getting awareness out there. And it's like she totally forgot what she was fighting for and just wanted to fight the board.
Right.
Exactly.
Mhm. Right.
And that's the other thing is she didn't post any pictures that would be like, oh, you know, we're supporting women who are fighting breast cancer. It was like just her posting pictures of like men's nipples, and it's like,
like,
how is this helping women who are fighting breast cancer? So
that was just like creatively circumventing everything that everyone's telling her not to do.
And she's like, I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care.
It became less about raising awareness for breast cancer and more about freeing the nipple for her own personal
That's
sake.
literally what it was. And she should have took that to her own social media page.
Yeah, totally. And I think that you can kind of see just like her pushback. Oh my gosh, I just lost what I was going to say, but it was that the fact that she was so caught up in this campaign that when Jane was visibly upset, you know when your best friend's upset, she couldn't stop for 5 seconds to realize something more had gone wrong with Jane.
Right.
She was so in her head about this campaign, I'm going to go get more nipples, that she wasn't stopping and seeing the big picture. I do think that she did learn from this experience, and she realized, okay, I was so into my own head and campaign that I wasn't even thinking about let me put myself in their shoes. Let me
Right.
see how they would feel about this and maybe go about it that way.
Right.
So I did find
Totally
that
agree.
really interesting. But I mean, hey, if Becca were here, which we miss you, Becca, she'll be back next week to do the live chat, hopefully. Kadena is still together, 100%.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
like, I don't care if she's out in Paris or whatever. She's having a good old time. She's still texting Adina every day. That tells me that when she gets back, things are going to be back on.
Yes.
They're totally gonna be back on.
Yeah.
They've been sexting nonstop. and I'm here for it.
Non-stop.
I'm here for their sexting.
Yeah, so I'm looking in the live chat too, and people are
Same.
saying that that was you. I was like, Nikki, I just saw Monet and mine thing. So, but yeah, interesting. Anyways, so we'll get back into Jane now with her kind of freak out and everything that she's gone through. I did think this was a great episode to kind of just like talk about an issue that sometimes you don't necessarily, like breast cancer, everything that goes along with it. There's certain things that you don't know if you don't have someone in your family that has had it, or if you, even if you do, sometimes they don't give you these prevention tools and help you learn from it. So, I mean, like blessings and prayers go out to all the families and people that have gone through something like this, because I mean it's terrible. I'm like gonna get emotional about it, but no, it's just it's just so hard for that. So I thought it was great that they brought this up, and kind of seeing Jane break down like that was really hard. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I thought it was hard too, and it also, we were all like at that commercial break, we were all like, oh my god, because I think we've all probably been touched by cancer in some way, and it's incredibly emotional, and it was really difficult to watch and really relatable in a lot of ways.
It was a very emotional episode. It was very real. In high school, I actually had a scare. I had a benign tumor. I was like 15 in my left breast. And being 15, because cancer runs in my family, so growing up, I was always told by my grandmother, check your breast, check your breast, check your breast. But when you're in high school, you're like, what the hell is breast cancer? I'm not gonna get it.
Right.
Had the benign tumor, thank God it was benign, it was removed. So growing up, I still have that fear that I'm always checking. I'm like, I'm probably gonna get it. People in my family have passed away from cancer and breast cancer. So it's something that I live with every day. It's a constant fear of mine. I even remember when I was like, when I turn 30, I'm gonna remove my breast, and you know what I'm saying? So I think this episode was kind of therapeutic for me as well, because it's like relax. Because literally I was going through that fear, panicking every time I would go to the doctors, every time I touched my breast. And I actually went to go get the BRCA test or the BRCA test.
Yeah.
But when I went to get it, I wasn't a candidate because my mother doesn't have it, even though both grandmothers had it, cousin, dad had it, aunt had it. They're like, your insurance won't cover it, you're not a candidate, even though I had the benign tumor. So this episode was really
That's how it hit home to you. Oh my
it
gosh,
hit home. Like
yeah,
I was crying. I was like, I didn't want to like cry in front of you guys. I'm like, what the? I'm like, this is me. This is literally me. So it was a very amazing episode. We say this every week. The bold type, it just gets better and better and better.
Yeah,
because there's so many people who, like you said, can literally, one of us sitting here, we know someone who's had it. We probably know one of our family members. Like it's a real subject. So I'm happy they touched on it.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's great to hear someone that has been through that experience. Kia, I'm so sorry you had to go through that at such
Thanks,
a
girl.
young age. We're so glad you're with us. You're an amazing. She's amazing, guys. We love her so much.
So I would free the nipple.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean that makes so much sense, and I think it's really great to know that they went about it in the right way too. Because sometimes people don't know, like there's certain ways that you can go about things. So I'm so glad it was very eye-opening, I think.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting was when she had the freak out with Jacqueline. I mean, I think we all probably were our mouths were wide open as in thinking, what is going to happen next?
I think we were all on our seats, like frozen.
Yeah.
Because she kept going and going, and I'm like,
never
Jacqueline
stopped.
is going to kill this girl. But it's like she had to let it out, and I was happy that she let it out, but I felt bad because I'm like, whoa, Jacqueline has
You said
literally
too much.
had your back, and she's like, go take
Right.
a walk. I'm like, please stop talking to Jacqueline. Please don't
Right.
get fired. I know they're not going to get fired, but
I know, but it is that awkward tension, because we all know if we ever talk to our bosses that way, would we still have a job? I don't think so.
It's a wrap.
Like, I probably would be kicked out in like the next 5 minutes. No. But so, and I just think I think that, Jacqueline understood
Yes.
why, which anybody would. I mean, I would hope so, because this was just a very touchy subject for her. And Jane was just trying to hide her emotions, like she was saying, how she was fearful of what was going to happen. And I thought it was. Did you guys know when she got the text that she was going to get let go, or did you know that she was going to get, like, it was going to be okay?
I knew it was going to be okay.
I didn't know.
Really?
I thought I was going to be okay just because she's one of the writers, so she can't really leave. But I knew that she had called her to talk to her probably more on a personal level of what she went through as, like, when she was a child with her mom, which I actually really enjoyed this episode for that, because I don't think we know a lot about the background of the girls. And last episode we learned a little bit about Sutton and her background and how she couldn't really afford to go to fashion school, so that's what she did. And then now we find out that that Jane's mom went through breast cancer, and, like, just kind of like the experience that she had when she was young. So I think, like, her explaining that to Jacqueline, I think Jacqueline was very understanding at the fact, like, okay, Jacqueline didn't know that her mom had cancer, and she also didn't know that she was such a, like, at a young age, and she definitely understood, like, and I think it's really understandable, because when somebody goes through something like that, you have all these, like, anger within you that you continue to carry, because there's no answer as to why it happened and why it continues to happen. So I think Jacqueline was, like, very understanding about it, and and it makes sense as to why she would be understanding about it. And I really love the fact that she came through again, and she talked to Jane, like, in a personal level, and asked her, like, hey, like, what is this making you feel? Like, talk to me, because obviously there's something wrong that made you kind of, like, just explode and let it all out on me when it wasn't Jacqueline's fault that her mom had breast cancer.
What I thought was interesting is that, she didn't know all this, but she said the reason that she wanted her to write the article is because she had an opposite view on it. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting, too, which leads us to the house visit and how she was talking to Jacqueline about she opened up to her. She was like, I don't need to give you any more information than what I'm giving you right now. But I thought what was great is, we're all from, like, different parts of the country, right? Originally, I think, or are you from California?
I'm from Orange County. Well,
but still, it's still a little different.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys, if this hit home to you, but I just feel like everybody's kind of searching for that, like family figure, mother figure, and I feel like Jacqueline is that for these girls. And I thought it was really nice that she was there for her in this episode, because if you think about it, we all are from all over. And you're not near your family. So when you have a bad day at work or something happens, you almost feel like your world's crashing from under you. Yeah. So, I don't know if that got hit to you guys.
Yeah, it was really great, because there's not a lot of bosses that are like Jacqueline who actually want to sit down and find out what the root of the problem is. And I like that she said to Jane, fear causes bad behavior. And I like that she was able to let Jane know, like, I get what you're going through, but you can't do that again. You have to have control of your emotions. You're a writer. Like, I know you're not going to agree with everything, but I honestly, when she sent the address, or when Alex sent the address, I thought it was the address to, like, a doctor's appointment or, like, a doctor's office. Like, you're going to get the test type of thing. But I like that she let her into her house, and she met the husband, the dog, and the kids, and she's like, look, let's sit down and have a conversation. Yeah. And that's why I think makes her such a great boss, because she's so personable, and she wants to get to know these girls. And if something's bothering the girl, she's like, let's sit down, let's talk about it. Instead of, like, most bosses, they're like, you're suspended, you're fired, I don't care that your mom had birth. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's work, you know what I'm saying? But I think with Jacqueline, it's more personal, and she actually wants, like, a relationship, like a mentor. She wants to be a mentor to the girls. So that's what I love about her, because she's my boss.
Can we just talk about how every article that Jane gets assigned tests her deeply, like, personally?
Yes,
it pushes her.
True.
She doesn't get any article where she's like, yay, I'm happy to write about this. Everything is like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to reveal so much about myself. Like, I feel sorry for
her. And
her.
I think Jacqueline does that on purpose, because it gets her to open up, and it gets her to grow a little bit more and take her out of her comfort zone. Because I think Jacqueline realizes, like, I have such a great writer with potential, but I just want to get her out a little bit. But you're right, like, every article, it's something crazy that Jane has to go through or, like, learn about herself.
So stressful. Like, I can't even imagine being in that position.
Gotta have an orgasm, gotta get a breast cancer test. It's a lot for Jane.
That is a lot. And I was thinking, so go ahead.
Oh, it was completely off topic, so I can...
No, that's okay, go for it.
I just wanted to also applaud the Bold Type for addressing, like we were talking about before, the different ways that you can kind of go about preventing breast cancer. I have a confession. I just watched all, I think, 7 seasons of 90210, and that's the only other show I saw that talked about like having the gene mutation that increases your risk of breast cancer.
Right.
And I mean, it's really dramatized in that show, and I know it's a dramatic thing in reality anyway, but I thought it was interesting to see it now in the Bold Type, like in a more modern version, and kind of addressing it in that way, because it's very informative. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
You know,
me
so
neither.
it's like you're learning something, and it's teaching viewers.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bold Type's great. It's all about learning. Like, we learn so much from this show. And I love it because, you know, women, this is something that we're struggling with. And it's not just breast cancer. It's ovarian cancer, cervix cancer. Like, it's so many different cancers. So I like that they're like, this is actually a real life test that's going on. And someone actually said in the chat, and I thought the same thing, the first person that popped up was Angelina Jolie. Because when her mother was diagnosed, she actually got the test. She was actually positive, and then she got her double mastectomy. So shout out to, I think it was that is interesting who brought it up. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
I didn't know that about Angelina Jolie.
Yes.
didn't know
Someone's
that
like, I didn't
either.
watch 90210, and I don't know how long.
I know. I don't know, David. I don't know why I watched all 7.
Like the original 90210 or
No,
like the new 90210?
The new one with
Okay.
like Shanae
Oh, I
Grimes.
loved
And
that.
Matt
I
Wild.
was so
I loved
sad
it.
when that
I literally
ended.
watched all the seasons like a month ago.
I was obsessed with that show. It was like that and Gossip Girl.
Yeah, at the
Those,
same
like, my
time,
things.
90210 was amazing. And also, David did say, he said things are getting real, which is true, because we were, like I said, we kind of were going through some kind of funny scenarios, but I mean, today definitely touched on some topics that, I mean, it is great. You're right. Like, we need to be aware of these things that to prevent things from progressing or getting worse.
Especially because, like you said, I don't feel like there's a lot of women who knew this. Like, I didn't know. I mean, I am very thankful and blessed that breast cancer does not run in my family, in my direct family, but I have had to go through the experience of a family member that's not direct go through breast cancer, and it is the most scariest moment of your life, and like you don't really know what's going to happen, and just the whole process itself. And now I'm aware of it because I went through it, but a lot of people who don't go through it and have no idea what it's like and don't really know any information about it, don't really have it in their mind. But I think it's really important for women to be informed about the fact that this does happen and it is real, and you do have to be careful and take care of yourself, and it's good, like, the better you feel, the better, like, it is, and just take care of yourself, ladies.
Yes,
That's right.
definitely.
Hashtag take care of yourself.
Take care of yourselves. But going back to Jacqueline and everything about making Jane come out of her comfort zone, and I think being personable, I think that comes with writing too, and being creative, is because you really have to be yourself to be a writer.
Yeah.
Because if you're blocking yourself by trying to think through someone else's voice, it's never going to come out good, because you're going to like dictate too much of what you should write rather than just letting the emotions flow. So I think that's how Jacqueline is a really great boss, and like I think we're seeing that possibly, you know, come through as how the true Cosmopolitan has been so successful, you know, is because we're seeing someone that knows how to manage people. She knows how to help people be themselves, and I think that's something that we all struggle with, is being ourselves sometimes, because we're so worried about, well, if I say this, how are people going to react?
Right.
So I think it's just, I think that, like, relating this episode with that kind of hidden message, I think that was kind of, that's how I felt about it too, was that Jane could finally, you know, there's things that she's been fearful of, and she's slowly but surely becoming one of her own. You know, she's coming into her own skin. And we even saw that with the struggle with the fashion, with the political, like, figure. So I just, no matter what happens in this episode, everything is, or this show, everything is such a learning lesson.
It really is.
And like you said, you're learning things about yourself, you're learning things about that you didn't know, and you're kind of picking up on these lessons to see how maybe you can infiltrate this into helping yourself be a better you. So
I say we just go to New York, go to Central Park, and just free the nipple. Hashtag send it to the Bold Typewriters.
you're
And
like,
hopefully we don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
And be like, ladies,
Like, actually, you can't do that, but good going. No, yeah, it was all great. I mean, this episode was amazing. Does anybody, I feel like that we just about covered everything.
yeah, because the episode was mostly about the whole breast cancer thing, but
Yeah, and one thing that I really wanted to point out was the fact that Jacqueline let Jane into her home, and we saw that Jacqueline has a normal life. You know,
Yeah.
she is she runs a magazine. It was so good to see the fact that she was wearing regular clothes, she was wearing sandals, she was
Right.
a mom, she had 2 kids and the dog and the
So cute.
husband, and it was so nice to be able to see the fact that she's a boss, but yeah, she's also a real person.
yes, she
Yeah.
slays at work, but at home it's like a mom,
Yeah,
which I loved.
But can I just say, who goes home from work and puts jeans on?
A boss who wears a suit all day.
Yeah.
And even her home outfit was like really cute. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Jacqueline, you slay at home.
That is
cooking
true.
dinner for her 2 kids, her husband, and her
Well, she has to look good
dog.
for her husband.
Exactly. Beautiful apartment in New York.
It's so funny because I agree with you on that only because there's in every show that you watch, they always have so much time before they leave to go to work or school.
Right, I'm like, I wish.
It makes me laugh so hard because obviously it's TV, but like some people do, like some families do like have that like time before they like before they go to work or like after they come home.
Yeah.
But I think it's just I never really did that.
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah. So I'm like,
what's time?
Yeah, seriously, in the morning, 2 hours before you. That's like some of my favorite TV shows. They have so much time to do whatever they want in the morning. I find that funny.
I'm like, are they up at 5 a.m.? Like, what?
Right.
What are they doing?
How did
Eating
they
breakfast,
have time?
getting dressed?
Yeah, to make a full breakfast, get ready, get dressed. They're usually making the breakfast after they've gotten
Yes.
ready, and then they are still have an
breakfast
hour
together.
and like
Eating it.
chatting and catching up.
Okay, wait, I'm that person.
Are you really?
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Tell us how do
See?
you do it?
See, there you go. See, maybe like half the people are like it in the morning, and then when
Right.
you come home, you've already done half your day.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, I wake up really early. I'm naturally an early riser. And so
Oh.
I, like, go to the gym. I cook my breakfast. I cook my lunch.
God, I'm jealous.
Like,
yeah.
I watch
Devyn,
show-
teach us your ways.
I just wake up really early. But I'm not going to come home from work and put jeans
jeans-
on.
Right.
Ever. I'm
Right.
putting on sweatpants, and that's it.
And you're
Taking off your
lounging
bra.
because you deserve it. You deserve it. You've worked really hard. I think
wish.
I did that for a week and I was dying. I went to the gym at like 5 o'clock three
I
times
used to do
and I
that.
was like, and I would, you know, I one day I did all that stuff in the morning and I came home and I think I came here after and I was just like, I'm a zombie.
I have an interesting fact. That's interesting. Says I believe that's the actress's real life husband. Ooh, we got to do a check on
Oh.
that. If that is, that's actually pretty awesome. Like, hun, do you want to come with me to work today and
Yeah.
play my husband? Okay.
Right. Because
That's
I mean, if you
awesome.
think about it, true, like she doesn't necessarily have to have her husband show up again, so that would be
True.
kind of cool if she's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, come on."
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Sounded like he had like a sexy accent too. I just hear that?
I don't know. Maybe
okay.
he did.
he was English.
I'm like, I hear an accent. I was like, ooh.
Right? He was English, I think, yeah.
I
got
think
like a-
maybe.
I can't remember
Latin
now.
English. I don't know.
That's awesome.
I just heard an accent. I think I'm just making it up. He probably didn't even have an accent. I just wanted him to have one.
Sometimes you hear when people say things, and I do that too. I like zone in on what they're saying.
I have an accent. Can you hear it?
I
No.
can.
Really?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Just like, I don't hear anything either. What is interesting, speaking of accents, this is so off topic, is that some people, when you go to like coast to coast, people
Yes.
can tell when you're not from here. They go, "Oh, you're not from here, are you?" And it's kind
they're
of
like,
alarming.
really?
Yeah.
I could never tell.
People are, I'm from New York, but I grew up in Boston, but I don't think I have an accent.
Yeah.
But here they're like, oh, your New York accent is so strong. I'm like,
What?
is it?
I wouldn't think you have a strong accent.
I'm like,
That's so
I
crazy.
don't. And then I also took improv class to learn how to actually get rid of my accent.
Really?
So some people on the East Coast, they're like, well, where are you from? I'm like, good, you don't know.
Yeah.
That was the whole idea. But here, they're like, did you just say water? I'm like, okay, calm down.
Yeah.
It's not that strong.
That's amazing.
Gotta love accents.
Well, let's get into some predictions for next week's episode.
Prediction.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
I love that.
Friends in the chat, give us your predictions as well. We'd love to hear, because I did see some people previously state that they were
Yes.
going to save it for the predictions. Alrighty, Kia, let's start with you.
Since I'm usually right about my predictions.
Yeah, which you usually are.
I think that, oh yeah, that is her husband. Okay, sorry. I'm ADD, I'm off track. Predictions, I believe that, like I said the last time, the Alex and Sutton thing, it's gonna be like a triangle. I don't know how far and how deep they're gonna go with it, but I do think that's gonna be a thing. Alex, Sutton, Richard. And I think that, like we said earlier, she's gonna get a little tired of Richard and may take a break. I'm gonna go with break for you, Karla, because we're still Team Richard. Because I think she's gonna wanna try something fun and new, and I don't think her and Alex are gonna last. I just think it's gonna be fun. They may just hook up and be like, oh, this was great.
Right.
Back to what's serious, which is Richard. But I do think there's gonna be a cute little love triangle. We seen in the previews that Pinstripe comes back a little bit, but it looks like Jane may be dating other people as well. So she's gonna be having more sex and more orgasms, which I'm here for. That's gonna be really interesting because I think it's gonna get her out of her head and out of work a little bit, because I feel like she's been too much in her head. Kat, I feel like we've seen in the preview she's gonna get in more trouble. She's not gonna get fired, but I think because Kat is stubborn and a little hard-headed, it's gonna get her in trouble at work. And we see the preview with her and Richard are gonna kind of go through it, which is gonna bring Sutton in it, which is gonna kind of suck because they're all friends and it's too much. Did I do all the girls?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I did.
Just
Sorry,
about
don't
done.
ever start with me because I'll just do
No,
the
I
whole.
love it. I love it. I love
the whole thing.
Alrighty, Devyn.
All right. Predictions for next week. I feel like Kat is going to maybe test the limits a little too much. I know that we do see that she in the previews, but I think it's just kind of going to go to a place where it hasn't been yet, and it might be, irreversible.
Yeah.
I don't know. And as for Sutton and Alex and Richard and that whole love triangle, I think that Alex is just kind of like a little blip in the road. I don't think it's going to be anything serious. I don't see that happening because I think the Richard and Sutton relationship alone is dramatic enough with its secrecy and everything. And yeah, I think Jane will just kind of become a stronger writer and less afraid of every assignment she's given.
That is true. I agree with that one. Alrighty, Karla.
I have a prediction
Yes.
that Richard is going to tell Sutton to go public with the relationship because he's not going to want to lose her over somebody who can have a relationship with her, it wouldn't have to be private. So
That's a good one.
I really hope he says, hey, let's go public.
Hashtag hey boo.
Hashtag it's going to be Facebook official.
And continue.
And what else? Kat, I believe she's gonna definitely run the limits. And what was I gonna say about Kat? I had an idea about Kat.
Anything with the Dina?
No, it was Kat and Sutton. But I think another prediction that kind of goes against what I just said. But I think that with what's going to happen with Kat and Richard, I think that might affect a little bit the relationship that Sutton has with Richard, and that might be the opportunity that Alex is going to take to try and kind of like swoop her in. But then Richard's going to come back and he's going to say, hey, Facebook official, we're together. Back off, Alex.
Facebook is amazing.
Yeah. And I'm like, hashtag Team Richard.
Amazing. I, bouncing off kind of the whole Richard and Sutton thing, I think that definitely Alex is going to kiss her. And she's going to be like, whoa, I can't do this. Tell Richard. Richard is then going to be like, all right, well, what do I need to do to make sure this isn't happening? And I think he might get a little angry, but realize it's almost his fault that they can't come out about it. So I think that's definitely going to be the issue we have there. And right now with Sutton and Kat, I don't have any major predictions just because they don't have any, I mean, besides Adina and Kat, I mean, I definitely think they're eventually going to end up together. But I don't think that anything like serious for them just yet. We do have some people in the chat saying, that is interesting, says, Kat is going to be ready to move out of the friend zone as she peeps Adina's social media.
You guys got some good predictions in the live chat.
And then we've got David saying, my prediction, I have a reason to believe that Jane might end up seeing two different people. proposal. So that would be very, very interesting.
I like this one. If Richard and Sutton goes public, I believe HR will pressure them to break up.
Ooh.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
'cause
gosh,
he's-
that's a good one.
that's a
That is
really-
interesting.
That is interesting. That is
yeah,
interesting.
that is a really good one because that would make sense because neither of them are going to break up with each
No.
other. So that would make a good point. And maybe, I mean, I don't see Alex being a backstabber
No.
because I thought he would be the one to keep the secret. But I mean, who knows? You know?
Someone else may just peep them because they were in the park, and I'm like, what if someone is taking their
yeah,
lunch
that's
and
what I-
sees this?
I know, that's what I thought was funny too. Is they're just like, oh, they step out the door and it's fine.
They're like, we're free.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, actually, no, you're not. 'cause
You're in New York.
So maybe someone else may see it, and
Yeah.
maybe her old boss, Lauren, I don't know, for
Yeah.
revenge or something.
Ooh. That would be quite steamy.
I write for the bow
You
tie.
are a writer.
If any of this comes true, I'm a writer for the bow tie.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, thank you so much. This was so much fun, as always. Thank you all so much for joining us, especially in the live chat. You guys had awesome predictions. Great chatter. We love it. Make sure you tweet us on Twitter with any questions or things you want us to bring up next episode. Kia, where can they find you on social media?
Yes, guys, I'm Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
And oh, sorry.
No.
Oh, I'm not sorry at all.
Don't say sorry.
You're not sorry, Devyn.
No sorries.
I'm Devyn Howard. You guys can find me on all social media at Dining with Devyn, DEVYN.
Carla.
Hey guys, I'm Karla Beltran, and you can find me on Instagram at Karla with a K, B-E Travels, and on Twitter at Karla Beltran with an R at the end.
Hey guys, it's Ally Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Ally Nasta and on Instagram at Ally Girl. And again, don't forget to follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, you know it all. So make sure you join us next week. We can't wait to talk about episode 7. See you then.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.